The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Chris Burton, who is in this morning for Alex. We begin this morning with a story we've been following since last week. Parents say at least 5 students at North High School have overdosed on opioids in the past week. They argue their kids aren't safe, and they were hoping to learn more about what's being done to protect students during a community meeting last night on campus. But their expectations fell short. More than 150 parents and students showed up expecting answers from school administrators as to where the drugs came from and what is going to be done to stop the ongoing opioid overdoses. But when they did not get those answers, things got heated. 17's Marco Torres was there and has the latest.
Parents became outraged when officials refused to answer their questions about opioids on North High campus. The meeting began with North High Principal Mark Balch confirming there has been fentanyl use at the school and at other schools in the Kern High School district.
I don't want to send a message that fentanyl is not present in our schools. We know it is. We're trying to work with you to address the opioid problem in this community. This includes the use of fentanyl, which we've seen effects of here at North High School recently.
Parents wanted to know more, but instead they were shown a PowerPoint presentation focusing on the symptoms of drug use, including marijuana.
It was a waste of time, no. They would not let us get not one word in. All he did was play us a slideshow that looked like we were in elementary school.
It was a joke, that it was all a show, that they went through all their slideshows and whatever, and that they want to separate us as parents individually with their little question cards so that we aren't one voice.
The school district did have a Q&A portion of the meeting, but when school officials didn't answer some of the questions, parents voiced their frustration, and the principal abruptly ended the meeting.
There's a lot of emotions surrounding something because people are scared. Fentanyl is a really serious problem in this community, and I think that you sense the fear that was here.
The school announced a plan moving forward, but with little change to what they're already doing. First, there will be more parent meetings, but on a district-wide level. Second, student training and awareness of the dangers of opioids. And third, the expansion of Narcan availability.
It was a joke.
Absolute joke. They just basically told everybody in there that everybody's kids that are attending the school are choosing to do drugs.
I think they just put this together tonight to try to shut us up, to try to satisfy our feelings. They wouldn't answer none of the questions that the parents really had to ask.
North High parents say they'll continue to demand the school do more to protect their children and give parents answers and the reassurance they need to keep sending their kids to school.
Meantime, just 2 weeks after a 13-year-old student was arrested with 150 fentanyl pills, the Bakersfield City School District Board of Trustees discussed new possible regulations pertaining to administering medication and monitoring health conditions. District spokeswoman Tabitha Mills tells 17 News the 2 agenda items refer to fentanyl and Narcan. On September 9th, a student at Chipman Junior High, one of BCSD's 45 schools, was arrested for alleged possession of fentanyl, and a campus supervisor was hospitalized for possible exposure to the drug. Last night's school board meeting comes days after the California Department of Public Health issued a warning to school districts across the state about new forms of fentanyl, including rainbow fentanyl, made to look like candy. The state agency is urging schools to develop policies regarding the handling and administration of the opioid overdose reversal drug Narcan. The board approved a first reading of the policy, which means it now moves to a second reading.
Meantime, the Panama Buena Vista Union School District, which has 23 schools in Metro Bakersfield, is working on a policy regarding the use and distribution of Narcan. A district spokeswoman tells 17 News the policy will outline who can carry Narcan on school grounds, and students will be more than likely not be among those allowed to carry it. That's because district policy forbids students from carrying medications on campus, even when prescribed. Students' meds are secured in the office or nurse's station. Hurricane Ian, as Florida is expecting the storm to make landfall today. The wrath of the hurricane's being felt after it tore through parts of Cuba.
And now it could hit Florida as a Category 4 storm, which could be a recipe for disaster after knocking out all of Cuba's power as a Category 3.
Ian made landfall yesterday as a Category 3 storm in Cuba's Pinar del Rio province, where at least 50,000 people had to be evacuated. The storm flooded streets, damaged homes, and ferocious winds brought down trees. So far, at least 2 deaths have been reported in Cuba due to the storm.
And now in Florida, the time to prepare has run out. Hurricane Ian strengthened overnight, and its outer bands are already lashing South Florida. Several counties had tornado warnings overnight, and damages from tornadoes have already been reported.
The storm is expected to make landfall this afternoon as a Category 4 hurricane. NBC's Chris Malone has the latest from Tampa.
Overnight, Hurricane Ian brought high winds and heavy rain to the Florida Keys and spawned several tornado warnings across South Florida. State officials making one last plea before landfall.
I implore, I urge everyone that is in an evacuation zone that has been asked to evacuate, the time is now. You must evacuate now.
About 2.5 million Floridians have been ordered to evacuate. At times, highways out of the southwest Gulf Coast were bumper to bumper. The Tampa airport packed with people trying to get on the last flights out, though not everyone was excited to leave their homes.
And you're not planning on leaving that house?
No way.
Why not?
Because I like it there.
Others, though, were happy to head to one of the many public shelters on higher ground.
I was so afraid either way. I didn't know what to do.
State officials fear Ian will bring down trees and power lines, flash floods, and devastating storm surge to a wide swath of the state.
We can rebuild property, we can fix infrastructure, you can fix your home. You don't get a mulligan when your personal safety is at risk.
They're urging people in the storm's path not to make a fatal mistake.
Mother Nature wins every single time.
A monster threat now arriving. Chris Malone, NBC News, Tampa.
Well, the concern in Florida is not just there on the Gulf Coast. Ian's expected to dump tons of rain across the central portion of the state, up towards Orlando, and even cause storm surge on the Atlantic side near Jacksonville.
And looking at this path here, as you can see, it is forecast to make its way through the middle part of Florida, possibly hitting that Fort Myers area with winds of around 155 miles per hour before slowing down as it travels across the state. Governor Ron DeSantis has been warning residents about what to expect.
We will see on the Gulf Coast of Florida heavy rains, strong winds, flash flooding, storm surge, and perhaps isolated tornado activity.
And we are already seeing that damage caused from those tornadoes spawned by Ian. Multiple cars overturned and buildings damaged by a possible tornado at this scene here in Delray Beach. At least 2 people were taken to local hospitals after the scene. And this morning, there is no word on their condition.
Kern District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer has announced criminal charges against Palmer Moland, a member of the Fairfax School District's Board of Trustees and former president of the board. According to the DA's office, Moland's been charged with 6 felony counts, including the misappropriation of public funds, violating conflict of interest statutes, falsification of election documents, and voter fraud. The charges come after allegations of misconduct were brought forward by the Kern County Grand Jury in May of last year, as well as an audit conducted by the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team. Mullen allegedly ignored bylaws when he hired a law firm at the district's expense to quash a motion to censor him. Additional charges allege that Mullen did not live within Fairfax School District when he ran for office and during the years in which he's been a member of the school board. If found guilty, Mullen could be barred from holding public office again.
5:20 your time now, and in your 17 Court Watch, the Tehachapi woman charged with murder in the shooting death of her ex-husband was assigned a courtroom for her trial. The case has received significant attention here at home and even spawned a social media group seeking to have the matter dismissed early. Back on June 5th of 2019, Wendy Howard told police she shot 57-year-old Kelly Pitts during an argument over his alleged molestation of her teenage daughter. Howard is charged with first-degree murder and faces up to 50 years to life in prison if convicted. Defense attorney Tony Lidgett and prosecutor Eric Smith have both said the trial could last about 20 days.
Making headlines around the state, the kidnapping suspect in the Amber Alert this week and his teenage daughter are both dead following a pursuit and shootout in Victorville. It happened more than 24 hours after the suspect allegedly killed his wife, the mother of the missing child. Shelby Nelson with our sister station in Los Angeles has more.
An intersection with one corner decorated with candles and balloons. Many people stopping to pay their respects without even knowing the victim here at the corner of Cypress Avenue and Mallory Drive in Fontana.
The screams I heard and everything, it's very sad. That's why I'm out here. I've been coming since yesterday.
Police say a woman, 45-year-old Tracy Martinez, was shot and killed just feet from Cypress Elementary School in Fontana Monday morning. They say the suspect is her estranged husband, 45-year-old Anthony Graziano. He's believed to have fired multiple rounds. Police say he fled in his white Nissan Frontier before going to pick up the couple's 15-year-old daughter, Savannah. That prompted an Amber Alert Monday, and by the next morning, reports came in of his vehicle in Barstow. Deputies responded with Graziano allegedly leading them on a miles-long pursuit.
The suspect immediately starts firing at our deputies, putting several rounds through the windshield of the patrol unit.
Authorities say the suspect ended up near the Main Street exit of the 15 freeway in Hesperia, prompting all southbound lanes to shut down, and a shootout between deputies. Authorities believe Savannah was in his passenger seat wearing tactical gear.
During that firefight, the suspect vehicle comes to rest, at which time a subject exits the passenger side of the vehicle wearing tactical gear. That subject starts to run towards sheriff's deputies, and during the gunfire goes down. There may be some information that the passenger was involved in firing back at the deputies, and we're still trying to confirm that at this point.
Authorities say Savannah was then taken to a hospital where she died. Her father died at the scene. Aerial footage from Sky 5 showing his truck riddled with bullet holes while detectives stayed on scene for several hours.
Shelby Nelson reporting. And also around the state, the defense teams for Paul and Ruben Flores have rested their case in the Kristen Smart murder trial. Jurors are expected to be back in court tomorrow. Closing arguments are expected to begin on Friday or Monday. Paul Flores is accused of killing Smart in 1996 when they were both students at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. He was the last person known to have been with the 19-year-old before she disappeared. Paul's father, Ruben Flores, is charged as an accessory to the crime.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.